Hi everyone, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a Kitaholic's Kits Design Team member exclusive. So today I am showing you how I kill my kits. So I've made a whole bunch of layouts with this old Kitaholic kit, and I've still got it hanging around because there's still quite a bit of ephemera left. Don't have a huge amount of paper, but you know, there's enough bits and pieces that it's not finished yet. Like, there's quite a lot of ephemera. So my go-to for killing kits is a grid layout. So I've gone ahead and I've cut my last few scraps into sort of random rectangular shapes. They're not all the same width and the same length or anything like that, and I've gone ahead and matched them up with some of the more square boxy pieces of ephemera that comes in the collection. It's quite a lot of words that happen in this layout, but I'm kind of just pretending that they're not there and they're just part of the background. It's just a busy background piece of paper. So you can see that I cut quite a long rectangle that I topped it off with a little ephemera piece. I've backed this frame with some pattern paper and I'm just having it act as if it is one square. Then some more pattern paper coming on in. So I'm just going to go ahead and back and stick down a whole bunch of these rectangles and squares and other bits and pieces to fill my background and make almost like a square mat to work on when I'm going to work with my photo. There was a few different frames in this collection, which I just backed them all in some of the scrap pattern paper so that they became full pieces, and I'm just adding those as well. So this sort of ovally shaped one, flourishy one, I'm going to be using as almost like a decorative piece on top of my grid, but the square one at the top there, I actually used it as a piece for the grid altogether. This florally shaped one I absolutely could have used in the grid itself, but I kind of didn't have enough room for it, so I'm just going to add it as a bit of a highlight and accent onto the papers that I'm already using. So this is Is It So Lovely collection from Pink Fresh Studio that we got probably almost a year ago from our Kitaholic kits. So if you are a new member, you won't have this specific kit, but the principle itself applies to anything and everything. Just trying to use up those scraps and use up all of those bits of ephemera that you've still got laying around. And you will see at the end what I have left of this kit. So I'm just going to keep piling things on. As you can see here, I'm layering some of the ephemera pieces on top of the grid that I was already creating. My photo is going to go approximately there. I'm just undecided if I want it to hang over the edge of my grid or if I want it to sit fully inside my grid. So I'm just not sticking it down yet while I make that choice. As I said, there is quite a lot of phrase ephemera in this particular collection, and I'm just going to stick it all down and pretend like it's just normal ephemera, like it's just all part of the background. It's all just the pattern. Now, in terms of what it says, it's fine for this particular photo and this particular layout. So I did choose a photo that kind of goes with all of that kind of stuff. A lot of it's like, this is the story and these are happy memories and go with the flow and things like that. Which works fine with my photographs. So I wouldn't be able to do this background with this theme and use like a picture of my boys, I don't know, swimming at the swimming pool. It kind of doesn't really go together. So I do need to be careful with my photo choice, but most of us have so many photos at home that we can sort of flick through our photos and find one that's going to suit the mood and feel of what is happening in your particular kit that you're trying to kill. See there, I just added a piece of ephemera on top of that large rectangular piece of pattern paper, and I purely did that because I have the ephemera and I want to use it up, and I also did it because that particular piece of pattern paper is quite bland, and I wanted to make sure it had something to help it pop and it wasn't just plain white. So I'm just going to keep going ahead with this. Quite of a boring phase to be watching, but it's just showing you how you can just keep layering everything and everything together and just use up as much of your kit and your collections as you can. This is a really good strategy if you get a few ephemera pieces that aren't really your style. Often in pretty much every scrapbooking collection, there's one or two things that isn't really our style that we can usually work with anyway. But if there's quite a lot of things in a particular collection that's not really your style, this is a great way to use them too, because it helps just sort of layer them in underneath, and they're not as noticeable on your page. I actually loved this collection personally, and I used it quite a lot. I made quite a few layouts with it. I think I did 6 layouts and maybe 4 pocket pages as well. So which is quite a decent amount from one kit. But yeah, now I'm just at the stage where I want to finish it off. That particular paper is not actually from this kit. It's indigo and ivory, and we got it in a different kit, but I literally killed that kit and had that much paper left over. So I just mixed them together because it kind of goes it matches enough that I can get away with it. And then I could use that paper as well because I really did need it in this layout. I would have had a big gaping hole on that side because I really don't have any pattern paper left. So once I've gone ahead and finished building my whole entire base, all of my grid, I'm then going to put on my photo and start with my embellishing. And now my embellishing is super easy because there's so much going on. I actually am only going to embellish with these fussy cut flowers. So these black and white flowers I fussy cut out of one of the 12 by 12 pattern pieces for a separate layout last year, and I didn't end up using them all. So of course I saved them. And they're going to be my embellishments on this page. There's so much color and there's so much going on that I don't need colorful embellishments. I just need these sort of subtle florals to help offset the boxiness of the rest of the layout. And I've also used all my ephemera creating my background. I don't have any ephemera left now. It is all in my background grid. So that's the reason why the florals are playing such a big key in the embellishing of this. I didn't actually show you the process of laying everything down. I did pre-plan this layout. As you can see, it would have been a little bit fiddly to get everything the correct size and fit it all together like a jigsaw puzzle, but not that difficult. It was relatively easy once I had seen all the pieces I had to work with. They're literally all squares and rectangles. So I just had to make sure I lined it all up, trimmed off some of my scraps a little bit, and I was ready to go. So I had originally planned that I wanted my photograph to stick out a little bit on the side of my grid, but I decided later that I would have it fit inside the grid because I'm going to do some stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and get my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch all the way around the outside of the grid as a little border around the grid and in between the edge of the page and the grid, just to sort of, add a little bit of texture and to highlight the fact that this is a square. So I'm almost finished with all of these embellishments and things, all of these florals. I've got about 3 more things I need to stick down. You can see there's quite a lot of double-sided tape happening here. I could have used wet glue, but sometimes I just find double-sided tape is a little bit easier, even though it's more fiddly. My wet glue doesn't dry all that quickly, so I wanted to have it perfectly stuck without any wiggle room straight away, because obviously there's a little bit of fiddling around here and I didn't want the other bits to move. So this is my last piece to adhere down, and yes, it's a circle, so I'm going to play with that circle and have it hang over the side just a little, just a smidge, but I'm going to stitch through that because I'm going to pretend it's not there. So once I've gone ahead and done my stitching, I have also stuck on my title, just says My Girls, that's it. I'm going to get some gold splatters and focus those splatters around those black and white floral pieces. and gold, of course, to match in with the title. I've also put a few of those little stars or asterisks that come in this particular font, and that is literally all that is left. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this process, and yeah, those little scraps of paper is all that I had left. So hopefully this inspires you and helps you work out how you can kill one of your kits. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.